Yes. Vasudev Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlama.
Dandavats Maharaj. Question from Gupta Govardhan. Sridhar Maharaj says that when you are forced to give, to do something, there is no anandam, happiness. So can we say that happiness is the attribute of and way to the spiritual plane? He also mentions that anandam is the origin, then goes consciousness. Please explain this.
Well, I don't know that specific reference, but in general, Srila Guru Maharaj mentions that there are different reasons that someone might do something. And we mean, good things, like out of obligation, or, a sense of responsibility, what is dharmic. But he says that the best or highest criterion is to do something out of love and affection. And here, I take it that anandam, when we say happiness, it includes love, affection. So, the path that we aspire to is Ragamarg, which means the path of love and affection. Of Rag, it's sometimes rendered as spontaneous, but not in a whimsical sense, but in spontaneous expression of love and affection. Not forced. But to achieve that zone, we'll take guidance from the author of the book of devotion, in Srila Rupa Goswami. And so he wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So he's the leader of the group. And the one indicated by Mahaprabhu to carry on his teachings. So in his book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we can say is the book on devotion, the book of devotion, Raga Bhakti is not the first thing that he describes. He's describing how to end up in that zone, but he begins with Vidhi Bhakti. And in the context of this question, means doing things, pushing oneself to do certain things out of a sense of obligation, which we admit, that's not the goal, that's not the highest form of expression, but it may have some utility. Like we see, in families, there's like a mother with her little child, and then the grandmother, grandfather, or some senior relative comes and they give something to the child. They put something in the hand and say, "Give this to grandma." And the child is hesitant. They run and they give it, and then they run back and hide behind their mother's skirt. So why are they doing that? Because their mother said, "Give this to grandma." They may be at a stage where they don't even know what they gave, right? They're not certain who is grandma. Many things left. But what they're being trained, the hand and the gesture of giving, and they're being trained for this. So the next year around, maybe a little better idea. Who is grandma? What is a gift? What are we giving? And in time, ultimately, the child itself may think, oh, this would be a nice gift for grandma, don't you think? Right? So ultimately it leads to some sort of spontaneous expression from the heart of the child. But we can see in the beginning the utility of they're following the advice of their loving, affectionate guardian. Like Gurudev has that, it's the title of the book, a collection of his songs, Affectionate Guidance. Right? So from the loving, affectionate guidance of the parent, the child is proceeding with, at first, and we can say, in an ignorant position, and then gradually achieving some sort of awareness until at last there's a spontaneous eruption from the heart, spontaneous expression of love and affection that comes from them. So it's something like that, because otherwise the neophyte, well, they'll think, why should, Sridhar Maharaj says, if there's no love, it can't be force and it's love, so, I've been asked to do this service, but I'm not feeling it, so I'm not going to do that, because I'm very honest. No, then we're cheating ourselves. Something comes to us. It's not, to do some particular seva is not dependent upon our mood. Although ultimately we can say, well, what about the mood of devotion? That is our goal, our target. But it has to begin somewhere. So again, Rupa Goswami says, because even the Gita, that yat utsrita shastradam shastravidhi utsrita, not to give up, to act whimsically, independently of the rules of the scripture. The other side being just, I'm into raga marg. I don't follow any rules or regulations, it's all spontaneous. If we're insincere, then we won't make progress. If we're insincere, then our position becomes a mockery of genuine devotees. So Rupa Goswami has also said in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that until this natural, spontaneous flow, rag, comes from the heart, one should strictly follow the scriptural injunctions. So Prabhupada, I believe in his introduction to the Isha Upanishad, he's making reference to the Vedas, and he said, it could be in the Gita too, but where he says that, someone will say, who's familiar with this system, they'll say, when something is suggested, they'll say, is this a Vedic injunction that I just have to follow it without question? Because Guru Maharaj reminds us, because to the Western ear, that's troubling. Following something without question. It cannot look beyond the relative circumstance to understand how this could be valuable. That there is a plane where knowledge descends from that plane. That, achinta kalo ye baba natang starkena yoje, it's beyond argument. If it's actually descending from that plane. So Guru Maharaj tells us Veda, which so often will be rendered as knowledge, that says Veda actually means know in an imperative sense, saying, know this. That means, as Prabhupada said, something, is this a Vedic injunction without examination, without hesitation, without scrutiny? I can just accept that and understand that it is true. That's Veda, saying, know this. It's revealed truth from the upper world descending into this plane. Which is interesting, because although we may take that in a general sense, the plane of our highest aspiration is also characterized as Jnana Shunya Bhakti, the Jnana Shunya Bhakta. No need to know. As Guru Maharaj said, humorously, that Krishna likes to surround himself with ignorant people. And we had to think like, we're always saying that Goloka Vrindavan is the exclusive domain of the highest section of liberated souls. Right? And he's saying, Krishna likes to surround himself with ignorant people. So what can that possibly mean? He means the Jnana Shunya Bhakta, who the majestic aspect of his divinity is suppressed, it's in the background. Right? They don't need to know that. Right? In fact, their love and affection has eclipsed the knowing factor. Right? So much so, like we hear, well, first in the Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj, Prabhupada liked this verse very much in the 10th canto. Itam satam brahma sukhana bhutya dasam gatanam paradevatena maya sritanam darakena sakyam vijahru kritapunya punya. He's astonished when he hears these pastimes of Krishna and the cowherd boys, and this is a setup for then what to speak of the Brajagopis. When he hears of the level of intimacy of Krishna with his friends, the cowherd boys, he's saying, Krita Punya Punya, like, what did they do that not only they're playing with Krishna, but they seem to have no overt awareness of his divinity. So it's like, normally you would think you go from a position of ignorance to like, karma, structured karma, to gyan, above karma, get some sort of mukti realization, and then end up, in full-blown enlightenment, God realization. And then we're saying like, well, then they go, then that starts going in the background, and they're just seeing him as a friend or an equal. So Parikshit Maharaj is astonished and like, what did they do to end up in a position like that? That if they hear that Krishna is doing so many miraculous things, right? The Trinavarta, who else? Shakatasura, the Putana, Kaliya, one after another, and these miraculous pastimes. Some people are beginning to see a pattern. They're saying like, one or two of these things might happen, but there seems to be a pattern here with the son of Nanda Maharaj. And there are different rumors. Vrindavan is a village, after all. It's a prakrita. The ultimate plane of existence is expressing itself as a village. That's interesting. That's peculiar. In this village, and village-like proportion, but lest we get lost in a stereotype, we're told, in a particle of that soil are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, which each one measures like 1 billion miles, kilometers, take your pick. length and breadth. Innumerable Vaikunthas and a particle of soil in Goloka Vrindavan that shows itself as a village, and village-like proportion, village-like environment and atmosphere. So in that plane, there's also gossip. Right? In the higher reality, there's gossip. We think, oh, you mean just like here? Right? Except there, it's liberating. Gossip is liberating. Here, it's not a good thing. Even Mahaprabhu telling Raghunath Das Goswami, warning him against Gramya Katha. That means gossip. But there, even gossip is it's like higher than Veda, because Vedas are giving a general indication, not full expression. So what is some of the gossip there? Seeing the pattern of Krishna's miraculous pastimes, there are rumors that the son of Nanda Maharaj is a devata. Because these are simple-hearted village people, and like, he's some sort of like a demigod. Because they're saying, well, that's way up there, demigod. He could be some sort of demigod who, like, he took birth as a human being and he's playing. And others are saying, well, I heard not just a demigod, but like Deva Deva, the god of the demigod. He's God himself. No. Yes. They're saying, our Gopal, yes. There are people who say, he is not one of us. He's only playing as if he is one of us. But he's God himself. And they think, but Gopal, we see, like, sometimes he's talking so much nonsense. How could I? And also, if we neglect him, his feelings are hurt, if any way. And he seems to be dependent upon our love and affection. How could he be God dependent on us, on our love and affection? Right? And to Yashoda, she hears rumors, people saying, Krishna is not the son of Nanda and Yashoda. There are rumors, gossip, people in the village, they gossip. What did you hear? I heard he's actually the son of Vasudeva and Devaki in Mathura. Yes? Yeah. And Yashoda saying, these people are evil. I have this wonderful son, and he does wonderful things, no doubt. But Nanda Maharaj, you can explain that. Nanda Maharaj saying, yeah, Garga Rishi, he came and could see in his chart, in his astrological chart, that in his last life, he did so many wonderful things, and we did so many wonderful things in our former lives, that such a wonderful boy took birth in our family. And he said, like Narayan, very much like, but not Narayan, which is true. But he means to say like Narayan, but not. Well, yes, I mean, that's a fact. That's at the heart of Krishna conception. Krishnera Jateka Kela Sarvatam Naralila Narabapu Tahara Swarup. Gopa Vesh Venukar Navakishore Natavar Naralila Hoyanarup. Human-like, but Narayan. Like Narayan, but human-like. A human-like version of Narayan. Meaning, like, he's part of Narayan? Then should we think that? Narayan, oh, maybe. The majestic, the God of God, Narayan, having some human-like pastimes? Is that what it means? Vikriditam Brajabaduidam to Vishnu. And Krishna's pastimes with the Braja Gopis are not the pastimes of a man They're the pastimes of divinity appearing like man, human-like. As Guru Maharaj says, the pastimes of Krishna, the form of Krishna is the template for human civilization. So there, yeah, when Guru Maharaj said he likes to surround himself with ignorant people, means people who are not obsessed with his divinity. Their rag, their love and affection has eclipsed the majestic aspect, and that's being suppressed. It comes out at different times. We shouldn't think they don't know. We see in their expressions, they know everything. But it's a yoga, maya type of ignorance. And I say, jnana shunya bhakti, aham ajnana jam tama. So, what was the question? Oh, we're talking about raga bhakti. I don't know. So, Parikshit Maharaj saying, so how could someone evolve to this point of being that intimately connected with Krishna and his pastimes? Playing as equals, friends, sharing, their lunch boxes on the banks of the Jamuna, teasing each other, stealing from one another, and all these things that boys do. He's doing that. Brahma says in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, muhyanti yatsuraya. Even the gods are bewildered and trying to properly estimate who is Krishna and what are his pastimes. After the Aghasura Leela, when Brahma heard, because remember, the quality of sound vibration can travel throughout the universe. So if the gods, we're on the earth, but if the gods and goddesses are celebrating Krishna Leela, they're singing and dancing, playing musical instruments. So Brahma heard this on Brahma Loka. So that means it's a very fine vibration. We shouldn't think of it as like sound that's limited to this atmosphere, and that kind of thing. Like, remember the sonic boom? If you move, I only know it in miles, 720 miles per hour, whatever that is in kilometers, have you ever heard a sonic boom? It sounds like an explosion. Really, it does. It sounds like a bomb went off over your head. So, but this sound vibration is so fine, it's going into the upper planetary systems all the way to Brahmaloka. He's thinking, what are the gods and what is there some kind of a celebration going on? And on his swan carrier, comes and he looks and sees these gods and goddesses are like mad with delight, singing and dancing, showering flowers, and upon whom? Krishna, a 5-year-old boy, who's sitting with his 5, 6, 7-year-old boyfriends, cowherd boys, and they're with their calves on the banks of the Jamuna eating their lunch. And he's thinking like, well, have they lost their minds? All these adults worshiping this child. This is silly. Muhyanti yatsuraya. Even Brahma, what is it called? Brahma vimohan, the bewilderment of Brahma. So he is thinking, because Krishna, it's deceptively simple. His dress, his age, his look, he doesn't have 4 arms or 10 or 1,000. 2. Right? Brahma has 4 heads. And bamboo flute, little stick in his waist, food in his left hand, eating like this, laughing, joking with the others. And so Brahma thought to, I'll put an end to this. This is crazy. All these gods and goddesses worshiping this kid. So I'll take all his friends and the calves and hide them in a cave on Brahmaloka, and then we'll see who's laughing. He's saying, probably he'll start crying, call for his mother, something like that, feeling all afraid in the forest, where did all my friends go? Yeah. So he hides them, and then he looks, and he's saying, oh, wait a minute. He's thinking, maybe Brahma is like middle-aged or older, like his short-term memory is not so good, because he lives for 300 trillion years. So if you're 150 trillion, your memory might start to go. So he's thinking wait, he sees all the calves, everything's exactly as it was before he stole the calves and cowherd boys and hid them in a cave in Brahmaloka. Wait a minute. So he's saying looks back on Brahmaloka, sees they're all in some kind of a mystic slumber in the cave. Looks back, then he goes, wait a minute. And he sees Krishna and all the cowherd boys and cows, but suddenly all the cowherd boys and they've all turned into 4-armed Vishnu forms. And he's like smacking his forehead. No, I'm losing my mind. They all turn into 4-armed Vishnu forms. And Brahma's he really is now becoming more and more bewildered. Then he sees that all the grass is dancing. They're dancing and having kirtan, and they're all singing the glories of Krishna. And even subtle things like the wind, the air, they're all singing the glories of Krishna. The directions, they're worshiping Krishna. And this is all too much for him. Muhyanti Yatsuraya. It's too much for Brahma, the creator. And he has Manasaputras, he creates planets, he was born from the navel of Vishnu. It's too much. He can't process all of this with his forehead computing power. What is it, a quad core? The Brahma quad core. It's too much. Right? And he's and then Krishna's just smiling. Play, Leela, Krishna Leela. This is God. Didn't have to make a big show. Well, I mean, he sort of did, but but without any effort. It's not that, and Krishna's really sweating, it's hard to do all of this. It's hard to manifest all those Vishnu forms, No, he's there, nothing's changed. They're going in and out, and Brahma, he sees innumerable Brahmas, innumerable Shivas. He's really becoming bewildered. And then at last, he faints. And when he comes awake, there's Krishna and Brahma with tears coming down from his 8 eyes, from his forehead, crying. He starts offering prayers to Krishna. Nomi jite brabha puse taridambaraya gunjava tanksha paripich chalasan mukhaya banya sraje kavala vetra vishanu venu lakshma shriye mridupade pashu pankajaya. He's saying, you're very tricky. It's hard to see you properly. Now, just literally saying to see you, know who you are. Why? Brahma is becoming a little poetic. Because no mijate, I'm offering my dhan to whom? No mijate, abravapu. You have your complexion is like a monsoon rain cloud. That's abravapu. So when, like a dark rain, it's like not so easy to see, to distinguish. But taridambaraya, tarit means lightning. And he says, tarit ambar means dress, taridambara. But when you're dressed in lightning, that reveals you. So he begins by saying, I am offering my obeisances to that person who, like an indecipherable black monsoon rain cloud, there's a flash of illumination by his lightning dress. The lightning dress provides then I can see who you are. So, as we hear sometimes, that Radharani, she wears blue for Krishna. She's golden and she wears blue. And Krishna, he's blackish, Shyamasundar, and he wears gold, yellow, taridambar, the lightning-like dress, which represents the color of Radharani, the Hladini Shakti. So what Brahma is saying, when you are dressed in your potency, when you're covered, there's your, and Gita we have, what is it? Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita mudho yamna vijanati loko mam ajam abhyam. There's different ways Krishna can be covered. There's like Maya, Mahamaya, Yogamaya. So here's a dress, a type of covering that contrasts and reveals Krishna. Hladini Shakti, Srimati Radharani. So he's saying, when you're in the company of your potency, then we can understand who you are properly. And the first few words, so much is being offered. Gunjavatanksha paripichchala sanmukhaya. And he's saying like, and who, normally if we were thinking about God, because when we think of like kings, and they always have like a big throne, crown, sitting on a big throne, jewels everywhere. And he's saying, and you're wearing gunja. They look, anyone who's seen them, they look like little red berries with black caps. That also represents Radharani, and Krishna likes to wear that, gunja mala. So you think, gunjavatanksha, and what, in your hair, a peacock feather. Not a big jeweled crown with two guys standing on each side. It's so heavy they have to hold it. Right? No, a peacock feather. Your hair, Guru Maharaj said, from all the cow herding, he called it agreeable negligence. Like it's not perfectly combed. It's like messy, but looks good. That's also a look. And with one peacock feather. Not 100 of them or 108 or no, one. One peacock feather, one real nice one. Because we're told the peacocks, they ask Krishna to play his flute so that they can dance. And Krishna plays the flute, and then the peacocks start madly dancing. And out of gratitude, the peacocks offer themselves to Krishna, and he picks one really nice peacock feather. And they think, he's ours. They feel something. Paripichtala sanmukhaya, banya srijay. And he's wearing forest flowers they collected from the forest. Mridu pade, Kavalavetra Vishanavina. And he has food in his left hand. Like anyone who's gone to India knows, you should not hold the food in your left hand. So he is breaking the rules, rule breaker. Food and left eating like that. Lakshma Shmi Mridupade Pashupangajaya. And his steps are very soft. The way he walks. Sometimes Rupa Goswami said Krishna walks like a baby elephant. The way they walk. Pashupanka Jaya. He keeps animals, primarily cows, but other ones too. And Brahma is saying, so I guess I could be forgiven for not recognizing who you are, I hope. Then he offers many, many prayers. Janantu eva janantu kim bahuktya name prabho vibho. Others may say they know about Krishna, but I don't have much to say on this. Of course, he says it in the middle of the Brahma Stuti. There's like 30, 40 prayers in praise of Krishna. But I recall when I got to serve Srila Prabhupada his lunch once, and he was like sitting, I'm sitting on the other side in case he needs something, and he's asking me different things about the local, taking some prasam, asking some questions, and he wanted to know what I was doing specifically. And I thought, well, I'm shipping books to temples, but also doing some house-to-house programs, preaching to Indian members of the community in New York with another devotee. Probably he was interested to hear about that. And at one point I told him, I said, but sometimes Prabhupada, they're not so receptive to hear what we have to say. That sometimes the people, they'll say things like, oh, I know what is Krishna. Okay. And Prabhupada, he had like a sweep, he was like, he tilted his head back laughing, went, he said, that is their disease. But the way he said, that is their disease. That they think they know what is Krishna. That's what Brahma is saying. Janantu eva janantu. Others may say they know. I don't. I'm only Brahma. Created the universe that you're in, saying that you know what is Krishna. I won't say that. And tatapite deva padambuja dvaya prasada leshano grihita evahi. Zanati tatvam bhagavan mahimno. If you want to know the glory, he said, you have to get a little mercy. It's not intellectualism, computing power, processing power, right? Big data. The sum total of all big data will never equal the infinite. Prasada leshanu. You have to get some mercy. Otherwise you won't know. So, when Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadev, what did they do, these cowherd boys? Because he started, Brahma is all the same. That I have some experience with yagya. And was the Lord's name Yagesha? There's some different names with the word yagya. We're told he's yagya bhuk. He only eats the results of sacrifice. That's how he eats, is through yagya. Right. Saying, but so that the Lord of yagya Yagyavai Vishnu and all these things, the whole Vedic system of how you make offerings. Saying, so that's the Lord I generally think of and have some awareness of. And there's a system, the Vedic way, that we've always done and that we promote. And he's saying, but so that who is Yagyabhuk, that he can sit on the banks of the Jamuna River, surrounded by his friends, like throwing lunch boxes around and stealing each other's offerings and laughing and joking while they, I didn't know, that could be God too. We know everyone knows, they're familiar with the stereotypical conception of divinity, a little stiff. Here, so much playfulness. And he's there and he has the stick for herding the cows through his belt, just a stick. And on the other side, a flute, a bamboo flute that he enjoys playing. And we should mention, today is the appearance day of Bhakti Thakur, the intimate associate and the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, who he, after Nimai Pandit took sannyas and became Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that left Vishnu Priya Devi and Mother Sachi alone, and we know Ishan, the great devotee Ishan, looked after them, but also Bhakti Thakur, and who later also worshipped Vishnu Priya Devi's deity of Mahaprabhu. And he also took care of Nityananda Prabhu and the Navaditam Parikrama of Jiva Goswami Nityananda, and under the orders of Nityananda Prabhu, preparing things. And it's mentioned there, he is revered as being the flute of Krishna. That's who he is in Krishna Lila. We hear Gora Gono Desha Deepika, who's who? Who is this person in Gora Lila? Is that person in Krishna Lila? So he's the flute of Krishna. How exalted. Even Rupa Goswami has Chandravali expressing her envy. Of course, it's in a very glorifying way. What is that? Vishalach Chidra Jalena Purna Lagu Nirashashi Chumbananda. I forget the sloka, but she's saying, and double entendre meaning. He's saying, who is this flute? What is this flute doing? He's saying, the nectar from the lips of Krishna is meant for the Braja Gopis. And now this flute is the recipient of all of that nectar. Because Krishna plays the flute and it streams out into the environment. And she said, Chidra means holes, but it also means like knots or faults. So as a bamboo, it has different knots and holes. She's saying, he's so full of fault, holes. And it's bamboo, dried bamboo, and he's saying, nirashashi, no rasa there, just a dry piece of wood, and is of the male gender on top of it all. Who is this flute? What is this flute doing? She's seemingly blaspheming the flute, but by doing so, praising Krishna's flute and how extraordinary. And the thing, because that's it's all Chinmoy, Vaikuntyar Pritivyadi Sakala Chinmoy. What kind of a world is that where the flute is a person? I think of, and parents who have little children go to the real little ones who are like 4, 5, 6 years old, Sometimes they go to school or kindergarten, and the teachers, they have a play. Right? And the child is very excited, comes home and tells the mother and father, like, oh, I'm in a play, you know. And say, oh, what part are you playing? And the child will say, I'm a flower. And they're very happy, like, I'm a flower. And here's my costume. Different petals and like little face, like a sunflower, you know, and like, I'm a flower. Oh. So even a child understands you can play the part of a flower in a play. Right? Put the infinity symbol next to that. Factor in infinity. In the upper world, in the spiritual world, in Goloka Vrindavan, Bhangshivadananda Thakur is the flute of Krishna. And his flute body is Chinmoy. And he's fully conscious. If you think about it too much in the right way, you'll faint. Right? Such an exalted personality. And exalted possibilities in that world. Krita punya punya. What did they do? Purigam Maharaj is very intelligent. And he also wants the others to understand. Very often, as soon as someone realizes the good fortune of the others, that question comes to mind. The ladies of Mathura, when they saw the beauty of Krishna, when Akrura is bringing Krishna and Balaram and cowherd boys to Mathura, Gopyastapa kimacharanyaramusya rupam lavanya saramasamor ananya siddham drigbi pibantinu sabha binavam durapam ekantadama yashashashriya aishwaryasya. Krishna is so beautiful, and they're just seeing him for a second. And this beauty is so overwhelming and extraordinary. Just see how beautiful their hearts are, enriched with what type of devotion. First they think, what did the gopis do that they get to see him all the time? We're just seeing him for the first time. Wow. What did they do? They're always seeing Krishna. Gopyastapa. They're thinking, is there some sort of austerity they did? Like, yes, they were in the forest and only eating twigs and, you know. Kasyanu bhavosya chadeva vidmahe tavangrirenu sparasha dikarya yadvanchana sri lalana charatapo vihaya kaman suchiramritamrita. Lakshmi Devi in the Tapovan for many lifetimes and performing austerities and not given entrance into the Rasa Leela. So then what? It's not some particular vrat, tapa thing that they said, oh no, they worship Katyayani, didn't they? The Brajagopis. Then I'll also worship Katyayani and get a similar result. No. Kama ishtaishtar hritagyana prapadyantenya devata. Hritagyan, those who worship the devatas, surrender to them, their knowledge is, they're deluded. The Brajagopis, they have rag for Krishna, so everything becomes co-opted by that. It's not the inverse. That by worshiping Katyayani, they got, no, this is the natural flow of their hearts. And these cowherd boys, that they're jnana shunya bhaktas, Krishna surrounding himself with ignorant people. People are not concerned with his divinity, his identity as divinity. That is not their concern. They just love Krishna as he is. Our Vila Govinda ashram in Italy is near this town called Como. that's famous, right? A lot of people who are wealthy, they like to get a place there if they can. Yeah. And one such person was the actor George Clooney. And he met with the people there before he made the decision, and he said, I would just like to be a member of your community, and I don't want any special treatment, or I just want to be one of the citizens here. Is that possible? Because it'll cost me a lot of money to make this, And they said, hey, Giorgio, no problem. So the point is, why? Because he's thinking, I don't want to be in a place where at every moment people are thinking, oh, here's that famous, handsome Hollywood actor. Yeah. So they won't be seeing me as me, they'll be seeing that. And that will prevent me from having a loving, affectionate relationship with anyone. It's a common complaint amongst famous, rich people. I can't find someone to have a relationship who just likes me as me. Everyone is suspect. So that's what Krishna is saying in the beginning of the Charitamritam, is people who are overwhelmed by my majestic aspect, Aishwarya Gyan. I am disappointed. I mean, some of this disappointment is chronicled by Rupa Goswami and can be a source of instruction and delight. After Krishna punished Kaliya, right? Whose wives are saying, oh, Lakshmi Devi couldn't get this. Our husband can't get the lotus feet of Krishna off his head. Other people are trying to get that. He can't remove them. How fortunate is he? But, so, when Krishna finally is successful defeating Kali and comes out of the Jamuna, he's received differently by different devotees. Ye tamam prapadyante, tam stateva bhajamyaham. And Rupa Goswami is making a point about the gradual development of this kind of loving expression, how rare it is, and also incremental in development. One cowherd boy, he has a strong urge to, Krishna just comes back from the clutches of death, literally. He wants to hug him, and he starts to raise his arms to hug Krishna, and then he goes saying that wouldn't be appropriate. So why does he mention that? There's others who cannot resist hugging Krishna. He's showing us there's an incremental development of this sort of sentiment. It's really extraordinary. So some of those cowherd boys, they're a little younger than Krishna. Maybe there's an element of respect there. Those who are equal, and then those who are older, like Balaram, their friendship has an element of vatsalya in it, in the sense of to protect, to maintain. It's very beautiful, the way he's expressing things. I mean, very perfect. Pujala Raghavat Gaurava Bange. So that plane is so high, so extraordinary. We're thankful that by the grace of our Guru Varga, here we have some opportunity to do some sort of seva that is meaningful in terms of our present capacity. And should not try to voyeuristically envision ourselves as super servitors in the upper world. The full time realizing there are super servitors and there is an upper world that is comprised of them, every element of it, including the flute. And the gopi, they're offering so much praise. The gopi saying, oh, his family must be proud of him. And they mean the bamboo growing on the banks of the Jamuna. That's his family. They must be so proud of their son. But they're also getting some of the nectar of Krishna, because Krishna's in the Jamuna. It's inconceivable. He's in the Jamuna of Braja Gopis, and then the water is nectarine to begin with, and contact with Krishna, and the nectar of Krishna, and then it's seeping and nourishing the bamboo. How can we conceive properly of that world? And as we told in Lalitastakam, Yad Kamapi Brajakule Vrishabhanu Jaya Preksha Sapaksha Parivim Manurajamanam. How she's, even in that plane, that's what makes this extraordinary. She's canvassing others to join her group. We would think, well, I thought according to the science of rasa, someone has an eternal position. How could they be canvassed to join another group? So we hear of Shyamananda Prabhu that his guru in the beginning was Hriday Chaitanya, who, there's also something called Ragamarg Diksha. He initiated him on the job. He will verify your authenticity with his nose. Anyway, Hriday Chaitanya, he's a Sakyarasa devotee for real. Gives Ragamarg Diksha to Shyamananda. I mean, he's initiating him into Sakyarasa, friendship, fellow. And everything's fine. I mean, this is not arbitrary. Recognizing that this is actually his eternal position, like Ruchi Pariksha, the Swarup is peeping. He's given this at that time. This isn't a fantasy or a projection or some kind of a charade of sahajiyas and neophytes. It's for real. And that Shyamananda, he's walking in the plain of Vrindavan, and you see there was one lady, she's frantically searching for something. Oh, before that, I should say. While they're walking, he finds in the sand, the soil of Vrindavan, a nupur, a bangle. And it's extraordinary. He ties it up in his cloth, he's carrying that. Then he comes upon this lady who's frantically searching for something. And he asks if she needs some assistance. Can I help you? And she's saying, yes, my mistress was here last evening and she lost a bangle. He's saying, oh. He opens his cloth and says, is this the bangle? He's saying, yes, that's the bangle. We're so happy. And she picks up the bangle and takes it and presses it to his forehead. And when she does that, he becomes imbued with Madhura Rasa sentiments. And is undergoing some sort of extraordinary internal transformation. This leads him, he goes to the group of his guru and God brothers, God sisters, the co-disciples. And they see this, there's this new type of tilak on his forehead. And the guru saying, this is not the tilak of our group. This is inappropriate. Remove it. He's saying, that's not possible. remove it. He said, try. And they're rubbing his head. And still the tilak is there. And this is perplexing to the Guru. And he's calling upon Jiva Goswami. Shyamananda approaches Jiva Goswami, who's confirmed the legitimacy of this transformation. And the Guru wants to, he's calling Jiva Goswami for explanation. One thing we should say as a footnote, do not call Jiva Goswami for an explanation. Unless you're saying, oh, if we could hear your satsandarbhas. Or you have some slogan, Anta Krishna Bahir Gauram Darshitang Garivai Bhavam Kalo Sankirtana Dyaisma Sri Krishna Chaitanya. We love your slokas, and we are Jivanugas, aspiring Jivanugas. Jiva Goswami, he's too busy writing the satsandarbhas. But in that upper world that we spoke of, Radhika Madhavasham, that is, our service aspiration expressed in its highest way, Sri Rupanuga Kritimati, Guru Gauranga Radha Jitasha, and the Rupanuga line under the guidance of our Guru Varga, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, etc. In that realm, Lalita Saki, just like Rupa Goswami says, Yad Kamapi Brajakule Vrishabhanu Jaya. She, the leader of, there's different groups, as we told, those cowherd boys. The highest group, Subal, is their leader. And they're just adjacent to Madhura Rasa and have some connection. As once some devotees, they wanted the deities of Krishna, Balaram, and Subal and Sridham. They're asking Guru Maharaj, how should Subal be shown? And Guru Maharaj said, prepared to fulfill the inner desire of Krishna. And they said, yes, but his gesture, and how should we show him? Or he said, ready to fulfill the inner desire of Krishna. And they said, but how should his hands be? And Guru said, that a Murtiwala can decide. But the proper representation of him is someone who has the capacity to what? Fulfill the inner desires of Krishna. Enough said. So that Subal, we know he's in Radharani's family line. We're told if Radharani appeared as a boy, he should look like Subal. He looks like Radharani, but as a boy. So how inconceivably beautiful he must be. But Lalita Saki, we're told, in the upper world, approaches Subal and tells him, that one in your group, we're taking him for our group. And Subal is saying, of course. Hare Krishna. So, we can't have a stereotype when dealing with the infant. Achintikaluye babas natang kena yogi. Isn't that something you can argue about? Brahma's trying to help us understand this. Otherwise, why is it there? And why does it appear where it appears? Why is it 13th, 14th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? The Rasa Leela begins in the 29th chapter. 5 chapters beginning with 29, because it's all perfect. It's the perfect explanation and prerequisite qualifying to, if we follow this thread, it's not a random sequencing of stories. Gopi Jana Bastra Hari. Why does that come when it does? It's not a random sequence of stories. Perfect structure. Samas and beyond. Perfect structuring to bring one to that point. So if they say, what did they do? What did these cowboy boys do to get that position? Then we can understand how extraordinary their position is, then what to speak of the position of the Braja Gopis. But Saraswati Thakur saves us with his motto, Pujala Ragapat Gaurava Bange. Ragamarg, always kept above as worshipable. And from this plane, always with folded palms, bowed head, and this plane, Matala Sadhudana Bishairange, engaged in some service to that plane of our service aspiration. Ahoy tukiya pratyata, the Bhagavatam says that causeless and irresistible. That means it cannot be A plus B equals C kind of thing. Causeless, ahoituki, apratyata, irresistible. What is Rupa Goswami's example about how it's irresistible? He said, like the mutual, natural attraction of a boy and a girl. That's the example he gives. So then you can understand, if you're in a preliminary stage of that, you can't force that or achieve that by wishful thinking or have some childhood misconception about what it might be, as children do, but rather give attention to what is before you and modest natural growth at the right time in an irresistible way. That attraction will be there. And Guru Maharaj said, and about like the higher achievement. Odo Shraddha Sadhu Sango Bhajana Kriya Artha Nivritti Nishta Ruchi Ashakti Bhav Prem. He said a girl who's having her first baby, sometimes she's very tired. And she tells her mother, as they get closer and closer to the time of the birth, she's saying, "Wake me up when the baby comes. I don't want to miss that." And Guru Maharaj is saying, "No, you will be awake at that time." Not like, "Hey, wake up." No, he said, "You'll be very awake." So the Buddha is saying, "How will I know?" You'll know. You'll know. The devotees think, "Well, how will I know when You'll know. You'll be very much awake. Beyond awake. As Guru Maharaj used to say, Shrinvantu Mrishe Amritasya Putra. Oh, you sons of nectar, sons of the nectarine ocean sea, please listen to me. You were born to taste nectar. You must not allow yourselves to be satisfied by anything but nectar. Awake, arise, and search for that nectar. Search for Sri Krishna, reality the beautiful. Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Bharane Bodhita. Awake, awaken to this possibility that's before you as a human being. That kind of awakening, that's the general awakening. Awakening to the prospect. But for that achievement, one will be most awake, Krishna conscious. in a substantial way.